It's Friday again, so it's time to talk another Shaman King episode. And I have a love-hate relationship with this episode. Was not looking forward to it. Was better than I expected. Let's talk about it. Yomei reveals to Anna the secrets of the Asakura family and their history with Hao, while Horohoro gets separated from the group and meets an unlikely ally that tries to protect the forest. Before I start with my actual review, number one, there will be spoilers in this review, so make sure you watch the episode before you watch this. And number two, perhaps most importantly, thank you to everyone this past week on a previous episode that corrected my mistake when it came to the timeline and cleared it up for me. My dumb brain during the course of covering this show just automatically assumed the show takes place in modern day, and I completely forgot how the show begins with Yo and Hao being born in 1985, and then you guys made it all add up, so thank you all very much, and let me know your thoughts on this week's Shaman King on the show thus far. And while you're down there starting the conversation, which is the most important part, please consider clicking the subscribe button. It does wonders to get the content out there. It makes the algorithm kind of work better than if you don't, so please do it if you enjoy these reviews and all the other content that I have. The opening scene and basically the first 5 minutes of this week's episode, I really did enjoy. Yomei and Anna go down to the temple and he unveils the temple of Hao and this book in which they trapped Hao's secrets. How Hao basically took over the powers of the earth, all the elements that make the world basically exist, and he controls the power of the pentagram, which makes him the most powerful sorcerer shaman in the world. And if they open this book, they maybe can find a way to equal Hao and maybe defeat him. Problem is, if they open the book, they will unleash the Shikigami that Hao kept to protect his secrets. While he's telling this to Anna, Tamao is actually there. She picks up the diary or book very enthusiastically and drops the seal on the ground. Very good visuals. Visual comedy really works here with Ponchi and Conchi immediately running away and the Shikigami coming out, but Anna quickly dismissing them, just killing them off with one blow. And I really like this for two reasons. Number one, we get more exposition on Hao, we get more understanding of how he works, what has he done, how has he been working to resurrect himself constantly, and what his goal is to become the Shaman King and create a world of only shamans, destroy all the humans. But now with how this scene played out, they set up Anna as a key factor into defeating Hao, which I love. I love that Hana has such a prominent role now, and they say she is part of the key to defeating him with what she has learned as an Itako, and now she's going to take the book to Yo, so together they may defeat Hao. I love this. I think Anna has always been a great character. She needed more time on the spotlight. The opening of this version of the series has been setting up Anna as a key element into defeating Hao, and now Yo and her are going to do it together. So I like that the show is actually going for it, and it's not just a cool part of the intro. Now, as for the rest of this episode, last week when I saw the title of this episode, when I saw that it was a Horohoro screen grab, I was like, they're going to do that episode with Horohoro where he gets lost and mixes up in the forest with the animals and talks about nature. I hate that episode in the original show. Just didn't work for me. I got the message, but it was just not entertaining for me or executed right. So I was not dreading this week's episode, but I was like, not very interested in the story. However, they really make it work. The setup is really interesting because Horohoro finds Morphine so cute, which she is. She has always been the cutest spirit for me, so I really like her. But Kororo gets jealous. Kororo is also really cute, don't get me wrong, and she gets jealous, and so as Horohoro is having fun snowboarding down the mountains of Colorado, which are filled with snow, his friends go on, and so Horohoro gets left alone to snowboard by his lonesome. But when he comes into a cliff and Kororo is not there, he just falls, he breaks his legs, he loses conscience, but thankfully a park ranger is there to save him. And as soon as Horohoro wakes up, he wants to go back to his friends. He wants to find Kororo because he realizes that she is lost. She's not there with him. Something happened. He understands immediately that she got jealous for what he was saying about morphine. And so he wants to go out there, but the Spark Ranger says, no, there's a bear out there and I want to protect this bear. She has this really wholesome backstory with the bear that someone shot him in the eye, which is disgusting. And I should tell you right now, I fucking love animals. I don't deal well with animal violence. So right away, this episode hooked me because I'm like, don't do anything bad to the bear because I don't want to see anything bad happen to the bear. But Horohoro has this really interesting perspective on humans and nature and humans being a part of nature. So he puts on this new awesome gear on him and he goes out. And so Bluebell wants to go after him and she sees Horohoro meeting with Apollo, the big bear that has this kind of like crater like scar in his eye where he was shot when he was small, and because he couldn't get accustomed to humans and he kept growing, he went away into the mountains. And so now Horohoro wants to meet with him and try to understand him, something that Bluebell doesn't understand because she doesn't know yet that Horohoro is a shaman. And so when she goes there in fear of Apollo attacking Horohoro, because if Apollo attacks a human, he's gotta go. But she also doesn't want a human to harm Apollo the bear. And Horohoro explains when she gets there, what he's trying to do is understand Apollo, where he comes from. Bears, owls, houses, fire, water, the sun, the moon. They're gods, or they're connected to gods, and he wants to understand and live in harmony. And it's a beautiful scene, it's a beautiful moment, it's something beautiful that Horohoro adds to the show. It also unveils a new layer of him that I really love to see in this character. But Apollo doesn't care. He starts to beat the crap out of him. It's a really funny moment. But soon enough, when Horohoro is all fucked up already, he's already bleeding out, he finally understands that Apollo, after being taken with the humans and Bluebell's father, when he got back to the mountains, the other bears didn't accept him because he's different. He has the scent of humans. So humans don't accept him, bears don't accept him. He's all alone. It's a very overwhelming kind of pain that Apollo has been feeling his whole life. And so they finally come to an understanding, and it's a beautiful moment when Apollo starts to lick the wounds of Horohoro. And then they broke my heart because these fucking poachers just shoot Apollo in his other eye and kill him. And the show did not pull any punches. They show Apollo being shot, they show Apollo on the ground with the blood coming out of his head. And I got fired up, man, because I don't care if it's a cartoon, I don't care if it's fiction. You show me an animal being attacked by humans, being made to suffer, being killed. I got fucking annoyed. I got fucking angry, man. And so did Horohoro. He unleashes on these bastards, and Kororo is back at his side. He unleashes this awesome new technique on him. He basically freezes the whole ground, the trees right behind him, because these dudes didn't kill Apollo out of necessity. Even Horohoro was like, if you kill him out of necessity, if you need food, if you need shelter, clothes, fine. Which I don't agree with. Which I really don't agree with. But they killed him just for fun, and this takes Horohoro over the edge, but he lets him go. And he talks with Kororo about, oh, if I kill them just because, I'm as worthless as them. And Kororo is like, yes, yes. And I'm like, no, you're not. Kill these motherfuckers. Make them suffer a slow and painful death, please. Which he doesn't, so in that regard, I personally didn't get a lot of satisfaction from this episode specifically, but given who this character is, I understand. And I like that the show sticks to its guns, this character sticks to his guns, and he gets some approval and some support from Bluebell of becoming the Shaman King of. And so all in all, this episode really surprised me. I love the execution of this theme of humans being one with nature in harmony. The fact that it's set on this show about shamans and spirits is really fitting for it, and I think this is the way to do it. This is a great execution of this theme, of this exploration of Horohoro's character, and it just left me really sad. I really like the episode, but at the same time, it just triggers me to see animals suffering. Again, I don't give a shit if it's a cartoon, if it's an animated thing, it's fiction, it still gets to me, and it will always get to me. But in that sense, it also shows that the show was effective in what it was trying to do. So in that regard, this episode really fucking nailed it. And so those are my thoughts on this week's Shaman King. The ending right now may feel abrupt, that I have nothing more to say, but I feel like I vented with you guys. This was therapeutic to me, and I really did like the episode. It surprised me with the story it was going to tell. I think it told it really well. But it also broke my heart. And again, it got me fired up, which is ironic because the episode is mostly set in the snow and in the cold and on ice. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let me know what you thought of this week's Shaman King. Do you like this execution of this little story arc for Horohoro? Do you like the previous anime's version better? Let me know all of that in the comments below. Again, thank you everyone for last week of clarifying the timelines and how it does make sense. I was the dumb one, so thank you very much. Stay tuned for many more reviews to come. I have my review up for Black Widow, for Loki episode 5, and tonight I will be watching Annette, so stay tuned for that review as well. And so until the next one, love each other and love the movies.